At first, it seemed like Pokemon card spiking was just hype at the start of 2025, but this feels like the start of something bigger. Though before we get into the details of today's video, I'm actually gifting a subscriber this Pig Knight illustration rare. Now, if I reply to your comment with this Charmander emoji, then well done, this card is being sent your way. And for some more insane giveaway news, I'm actually going live on Whatnot and I'm giving away a bunch of Pokemon 151 and Black Bolt on September 9th, 6 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, and I'll speak more about that awesome stream later in this video. Though as I said, it did seem Pokemon cards were just super hyped, and there's a big change happening right now. So Pokemon card searches across the board have actually been dropping within 2025, especially right now. If you look at the search term Pokemon cards, they are nowhere near as searched as they were earlier this year, yet the hype has actually lasted in terms of the prices. So while a lot of those hype beasts have left the hobby, it seems that there's some true genuine demand staying. One thing that a lot of people forget is that Pokemon is in its own league. Though just check out what we're dealing with so you can see the kind of price movements at the moment. All right, first one on the list that we need to speak about is the Charmander from Obsidian Flames. Charmander is obviously, OG Gen 1 Pokemon, always going to have a big fan base. Now, Obsidian Flames Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes are really coming up in price, and I'll show you that in a second. But this Charmander Pokemon Center stamped exclusive is really going up in price. Now, the one I'm looking at here is the Pokemon Center stamped version, not to get confused with the exact same card that doesn't have the Pokemon Center stamp on it. Just looking here in the last 3 months, selling for $100 in June. Just recently, look at that, selling for $213 US. Really big price jumps in such a short amount of time. I'm really interested to see how this continues, and is this Pokemon Center stamp hype gonna last over the long term? One thing about this promo hype, I sometimes get a little bit cautious with it because I understand when chase cards from booster packs get really expensive, that makes more sense to me. Sometimes the promo card hype can be a little bit touch and go, so it's always a good idea just to tread carefully when you see such big price spikes. Now, as I mentioned, the Obsidian Flames Elite Trainer box, the Pokemon Center versions have really been growing. If you just take a snapshot on the graph right there, you can really see how quickly it's going up in price. And of course, that all has to do with the Charmander that I just spoke about. But check this out, selling for $313 in June of this year. Right now, selling for $515 USD. That is one sealed ETB. And of course, it's not for the Obsidian Flames packs inside. It's all to do with the Charmander Pokemon Center Stamped promo. Now, of course, some Obsidian Flame cards have been rising recently, but then again, does it deserve that price point? I don't know. I'm very interested to know a lot of your thoughts, whether or not you think that this is a little bit overinflated right now. Maybe not, because, Obsidian Flames came around before this whole new massive Pokemon hype craze. So it might be a little bit because it came before that period that, a lot of people are now playing catch up. But then again, when I see that, I'm just kind of thinking, wow, who's kind of paying that? There's a lot of bananas that would, though. Believe me, brother, you're gonna see the bananas in this hobby. And 0 items sold right now, but believe me, like I said, bananas everywhere, and you will see banana behavior in this hobby. Moving on now to the Snorlax from Pokemon 151. Check this one out, the Pokemon Center Stamped promo. Selling for $130 US in July. Right now selling for $190 USD. Now, of course, Snorlax is definitely a loved Pokemon, massive fan base. A lot of people collect Snorlax cards. So definitely interesting to see such big price growth on this one in particular. But of course, maybe not that surprising as well, considering how many people love Pokemon 151. But what's crazy, when you look at the price of Pokemon 151 Center exclusive ETBs, they're out of this world. Right here, I'm looking at the Pokemon Center exclusive Pokemon 151 ETB. Check out this price, dude. Right now selling for $943 in ETB. That is crazy, man. That is so expensive. Yes, Pokemon 151 is in demand. Yes, a lot of people want it in their collections. Yes, it's rising crazily in price, but $943 for an ETB is really, really expensive. And of course, you do get the Snorlax promo inside it. You get two. You get one without the Pokemon Center stamp and one with the Pokemon Center stamp. And of course, you get a bunch of Pokemon 151 booster packs. So definitely an interesting product at the moment. And if you did buy this back in the day, you are definitely laughing right now when you're seeing that major price point. Now moving on to the Black Bolt Pokemon Center ETBs, you can see right now they're selling for around $174. But you know, the whole Pokemon 151 and the Generation 5 sets, they're definitely interesting sets as they're big nostalgic throwbacks. You know, I'm going to be really curious to see how Black Bolt performs over the long term, but we can already see that Pokemon 151 is really in its own league. Now, while speaking about Black Bolt and Pokemon 151, as I did mention earlier in the video, I'm actually going live on Whatnot and giving away some Pokemon 151 and Black Bolt booster packs on September 9th at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now, today's video is actually sponsored by Whatnot. Now, Whatnot is a fast-paced live shopping platform where you can engage with creators and purchase products all in real time. Now, if you've actually been on my previous streams, you would have seen some awesome pulls happen live, including the Greninja Special Illustration Rare, Cynthia's Garchomp, and even recently pulling both Squirtle and Charmander illustration rares from Pokemon 151. Now, if you've never tried Whatnot before, definitely feel free to join my hybrid giveaway and selling stream on September 9th. You can try the platform out and see how it all works. Now, what's really cool is if you are a first-time user, you can actually get a free $15 credit by signing up using my link or scanning the QR code appearing on screen right now. A big shout out to Whatnot for sponsoring today's video and supporting the channel. Now let's get back into the video. Now, moving forward to some more Pokemon 151 hype. I know a lot of people are just wondering right now, like, wow, what is going on with it? This Mew 151 promo from the Ultra Premium Collection, this one is going real high in price, dude. Check this out. 1 month ago, selling for 36 USD. Now, right at this stage, it's selling for $73. This Mew Special Illustration Rare, which to me is just super expensive considering it was guaranteed in the 151 UPC. Though some interesting things have happened with that 151 UPC. It was really available early last year, like a lot of people were speaking about it. But of course, because the 151 UPC was available, when Pokemon 151 kind of went out of print and it was harder to find, that 151 UPC really became a desired product because not many people even thought much about it. It was one of those things that was always available. Like early last year, anyone could have bought that UPC. It was actually quite a common product. It definitely didn't get much reprints, and of course now it's such a desired product. And of course the promos inside that UPC are just driving the price really, really high. If we pull this into the year graph, you can see that this card in September of last year was selling for pretty much $6.50. This is getting to insane price points. Now, here's the interesting thing about this card in particular. A lot of people that want to complete their Pokemon 151 master sets obviously need this Mew, and that is really driving the price up because, you know, it's going to be very hard to complete a master set without having Mew as the special illustration rare. And of course, the only way to get that is from the Pokemon 151 Ultra Premium Collection, which is such a rare product to get at the moment. And of course, you know, we had a bit of restocks with, you know, Blooming Waters, and, you know, some booster bundles did get restocks as well. But in terms of the 151 UPC, that is actually a pretty rare sealed product at this stage. Now, moving on to the Ends Reshiram, the stamped version. In the last month, check this out, selling for pretty much 15 USD, right now selling for $30. Really interesting because this is from the box topper from Journey Together. As you know, you can pull the Ends Reshiram from Journey Together as an illustration rare, but if you do get the Journey Together enhanced booster box, when you open the booster box, this actually sits on top as a promo card. And you know, it's pretty hard to get because you do need to buy an enhanced booster box to get this promo card. So, you know, there could be a big market for these in the future as well. When we're looking at Pokemon Center exclusive promos, I do imagine that these stamped box topper cards could be expensive as well as time goes on. We're moving on to the Galarian Gallery Mew from Crown Zenith. Look at this one in the last 3 months. Selling for $16 in June, right now selling for $34 US. Man, that is pretty big price growth. Really cool card, very easy to pull as well. I mean, I don't know if you've actually opened Crown Zenith. I've opened a fair bit of Crown Zenith and I've pulled 3 of these so far. You know, crazy to see it at that price point. When I pulled this card back in the day, I think it was like a $4 card. So it's really been climbing up in price recently. And of course, I think a lot of collectors are now realizing don't underestimate cards that are like $5 today, because as time goes on and more people want these cards in their hobby and, you know, people just get so obsessed with these cards, you can see what happens with the price points. Now, also, it probably should be said that I actually do go on live streams a lot, and the quickest way to get updates about these is on my channel's official Discord. You can find the details for the Discord in the video's description. And of course, another interesting one to look at is the Magikarp illustration rare from Powder Evolved, selling for $191 in June of this year, right now selling for $266 US, and that's pretty much approaching its previous high point, very close to that. If I pull this into the year graph, you can see it's just about getting there, okay? Right there in February, selling for $276 US, right now selling for $265. So pretty much right there at this point. I definitely think with how things are going and, especially that we're entering the whole winter period for US and Europe, traditionally speaking, that's when Pokemon card prices definitely start climbing up. So there's a good chance that this Magikarp in particular could rise, especially how hard this card is to grade. To be honest, that makes it less attractive to me buying it as a raw copy, because I believe this card only has a 20% chance to come back as a PSA 10. But of course, the PSA 10 prices for this card in particular are very expensive because of how difficult it is to grade. Now, the Mimikyu Pokemon Center exclusive is also climbing quite quickly, selling for $28 in June of this year, which was a pretty good purchase if you ask me. Right now selling for $70. Now, of course, Pokemon Center stamped products, like I mentioned before, super desired at the moment. People really like them. They're pretty cool because they are ETB promos and they have that additional level of rarity because they have the Pokemon Center stamp. And there's only one way to get these artworks, which is in ETBs. So definitely they're getting a big audience that are trying to collect it. But then again, they're all rising a little bit too quick at the moment. And I did see that, Pokemon Center exclusives did rise again last year really quick. I don't think Paldean Fate's Pokemon Center ETBs are going to get reprints at this point. I mean, anything can happen. But given the fact that this one's selling for $70 at the moment, I'm interested to see how it goes over the long term. Anything can happen with Pokemon cards right now, and that's what I mean. It's getting so strange and bizarre how things are shifting quite quickly too, right? Because yes, a lot of them are interesting, but also there is a big change happening with Pokemon cards right now because, back, when I started in the whole, and, when I kind of was learning about Pokemon investing, if we want to even call it that back in the day, because not many people called it investing. It was such a small group of people, right? A lot of people just knew that, hey, if you buy Pokemon products, they'll rise over time. But now as the kind of hobby's maturing, there's almost a level of stability coming into investing in collectibles that wasn't there 2 or 3 years ago. Now investing in collectibles, especially things like Pokemon cards, and I think people are now realizing this, and it's kind of weird because, a few years ago, there was a lot of talk about the volatility of collectibles, and that's still there. But when you look at sealed products, right, for Pokemon cards, and, even when you look at Pokemon Center exclusive products, like I showed you with the Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs, there is this level of, hey, they really perform really strong, and there hasn't been that many examples of sealed product just tanking as of yet. It definitely can happen. You should never rule that out if you're investing in collectibles because we never know what can happen in the future. But right now, there is a method happening. There is a sense of confidence, and I can notice this right now, especially in 2025, a lot of people are getting more confident in purchasing Pokemon collectibles. And because this is happening so consistently, a lot of people are saying, you know what, I actually have some confidence in Pokemon cards right now. And we can really see this across the board right now. People are definitely getting more confident purchasing Pokemon cards now than they were a few years ago. And now also, while speaking about these, there's also some level of curiosity building for Pokemon cards and their kind of potential future growth. I mean, it's becoming pretty clear that Pokemon cards have strong growth. And one question a lot of collectors are now asking are which Pokemon cards are actually trending and hot right now. And I'll reveal the top 8 Pokemon cards in this video on screen right here. Within this video that's currently appearing on screen, I go over the growth of Pokemon cards and speak about their future potential. If you enjoyed this video, then click the video that's appearing on screen and I'll see you on the next video.